Our standards of beauty have changed, and there was the waifish, thin standard of beauty, twiggy, famous model in the 60s, cut to, 20, 30 years later. Anna Nicole Smith, the Rubenesque beauty, the thinner, fit beauty. These are body types, but there is a facial standard for beauty, and sometimes it is expressed as a ratio. But in general, a man, I think throughout history and throughout cultures, is prized if he has the lantern jaw, the chiseled square jaw. Think Christopher Reeves, or maybe George Reeves, all the Supermen. But here I am talking about how to get that jaw. Can you get that jaw? This is a latest trend, a scientific or quasi-scientific trend. And when quasi-science comes into our purview, we call on Sadie Dingfelder, the author of Do I Know You? A Face-Blind Reporter's Journey into the Science of Sight, Memory, and Imagination. Actual book. If you're watching the video, holding it up, I'm not lying. The book exists. And Sadie Dingfelder is here to play Is That Bullshit? Hello, Sadie.
Hello.
So how do we get a lantern jaw? Is this just called lantern jawing?
No, it is called mewing.
What?
Yes, it's named after the man who invented it, John Mew, he was a British orthodontist. He's not dead, but he was disbarred or whatever the equivalent is.
Disdented?
He was struck from the register of orthodontry in England.
I wonder if that's a real ceremony, if there's like torn epilots and things like that.
It seems like a big deal. There was all these hearings, and then his son was more recently disbarred from them. So
wow, and we know that, in the UK, the inherited traits and the inherited titles, so it is a big deal to disbar the son of an orthodontist as well.
Totally. Two disgraced orthodontists in England. But they're John Mew and Mike Mew. And interestingly, John, the older one, invented mewing, but it didn't take off. Oh, wait, let's start with mewing. Okay.
Yes.
So this is also known as tongue yoga.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do is put the tip of our tongue behind.
Oh, you're going to teach me how to do it.
We got to do it. I mean, unless you feel like your jawline's already there.
Oh, so it's a series of exercises.
Yeah,
you can work out your jaw, and then your jaw becomes square, lantern, prominent jaw.
This is what the Mews claim.
Okay. Let's say.
So we put the tip of our tongue beneath your top row of teeth.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Now you swallow. And do you feel how your tongue presses against the roof of your mouth when you swallow?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Now breathe through your nose.
Mm-hmm.
Now do that for 10 to 20 seconds. About once an hour every day. And
so 20 seconds every hour, every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And your jaw gets lantern. Your jaw. When you do it, do you
That's
feel...
just one rep. I think you're supposed to do more than one rep, maybe 10 reps.
Okay, that's a rep. And is that the only exercise, or is that a series of exercises? Is that the downward dog of tongue yoga?
That is the whole thing. That is mewing. But interestingly... Yeah.
That's it? Oh, wow. What a delight you'd be at parties.
Yeah. And there's a lot of instructional videos, so maybe I didn't do it exactly right, but I think that's pretty standard.
Okay.
And interestingly, though, there's a more common usage of the word mew that young people use that I think is more common, and they don't even know about the tongue exercise, really. It's a gesture.
Yeah.
And the gesture is this. You put your finger on your lips in an exaggerated hush gesture. Mm-hmm. And then you just draw your jawline. So you bring your finger along your jawline.
And that's supposed to do something?
No, that is how you can say to someone, I'm sorry, I can't answer your question right now because I am mewing.
Oh, wow. So etiquette. It's the exercise. It's the etiquette. That's like at the gym. Hey, man, can you give me a spot? This is the exercise. Oh, wow.
And apparently kids use it to annoy their teachers. So if they're asked a question in class, they'll be like...
You can't mew your way out of not knowing who wrote Beowulf. Anyway, who did write Beowulf?
I don't actually know.
I think it was collectively. Know? I think it's just like a, epic poem. So that was a bad example of who wrote Siddhartha. It was Hermann Hesse.
Yeah. So, but I think it's like the equivalent of in our generation when you'd say, like, I can't go out with you. I'm washing my hair.
Right. Oh, okay. So it's just a way to diss someone and diss them saying I'm involved in the lowest stakes exercise possible.
Right.
And in this case, an actual exercise.
Right. But I do think the kids don't really know it that much. And they just know it's a funny excuse for not talking to someone.
Yeah. So why, obviously, like I said, having a square jaw, that correlates to standards of beauty. But why has this taken off? Is it because of the effectiveness of the exercise? Like, who wouldn't do it if you could get a square jaw?
Yeah. Well, so the way this took off is super interesting because the older Mew had this, very small dedicated group of customers, of patients. Yeah. But the elder Mew, when he took over from his dad, when his dad got disbarred.
Oh, the younger Mew when he took over from the elder Mew.
Yes. He's the one who took it international.
Mike Mew. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the social media genius.
I see.
And he immediately got picked up by the looksmaxers.
Okay.
With a few X's. And looksmaxers are sort of in the incel tradition of like having
the story tradition. Yes, people not wanting to sleep with you. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah. So of trying to like help improve your chances because that's all women care about is jawlines.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
So
and prominent brow ridge, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
From mags.
That's a whole nother. We could invent that and make money. Just raise your eyebrows and work on your jaw ridge.
Well, the duck face among the women but that's temporary. You could do that just at the drop of a hat. The strong jawline, there may be things to do in a picture where you suck your jaw in, but if you want the strong jawline, you apparently have to do 10 seconds of exercise every hour and maybe even more.
Well, but before you do that, let me just tell you that, number one, even theoretically, there's no reason why this should work for adults. And even the Mews will agree with this. So your jaw is done growing and you're not going to change it by doing weird tongue exercises all the time. Now, it could theoretically work for young children.
Yes.
But can you imagine getting a young children to do a behavior like that, like to do some exercise all the time?
Yeah, it's abusive and it's weird. And also it probably doesn't work. And also, how do you know how the jaw of a child is going to develop? Like, I suppose I've seen a 2-year-old and said, oh my God, that there's a jaw that could cut granite, but mostly I'm like, little baby.
I feel like if I saw a jaw that could cut granite on a 2-year-old, I'd be worried about steroid use or something.
Yeah, it'd be a little off-putting. Right. He'd be like that mini Hercules kid or the kid who smokes cigarettes in the Thai jungle. So okay, it maybe could work with children. It definitely doesn't work with adults. And so therefore, there's no reason that this is popular, except this is incredibly popular.
Yeah.
And not as a joke and not just as a way to say, sorry, I'm not going to answer you, I'm mewing.
Yeah, people do it. And I found one example of someone who was so dedicated, this like 17-year-old who had extreme dislike. He did not like his face. Yeah. And he was very dedicated and he ended up giving himself like an impacted salivary gland and had to get surgery.
Great.
But I only found one example of someone injuring themselves with mewing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one reason why it's popular.
The downside is wasted time, not necessarily injury, and the total ineffectiveness of the procedure. But how would it doesn't seem that hard to do a before and after comparison, but have they, or whoever the they is, have they taken it seriously enough that they tried to do a full scientific, I don't know if it's double blind, but a full scientifically proper analysis of if it works?
Yeah, John Mew did twin studies, which is kind of amazing. And if you look at them, though, I don't think anyone's done a serious analysis of them. I don't think he took very good data.
Right.
But you do
remember, this is the disbarred or orthodontic equivalent of a charlatan-esque person, and we're going to rely on him to supply the data. That's questionable.
Yeah. One thing interesting about John Mew is that he has a very long face and not a very good jawline. And he thinks it's because he became a mouth breather because he had allergies. And it is possible that can happen. And his son, Mike Mew, has a very square jaw.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he put his kids through so much because he knew you can't just ask a kid to do this. He invented these orthodontic devices with like spikes in them that force, quote unquote, proper posture. And if it was just his kids he was doing it to, that'd be bad enough. But he was doing it to other kids too. And in the John Mew trials or hearings, they showed pictures, like he really messed up some kids' teeth. And one kid was having seizure-like episodes when they tried to put the headgear on them. These poor 5-year-olds were forced to wear headgear literally 24 hours a day. And
to have strong jawlines.
Yeah.
To look good when they're adults.
The thing is, the Mews would argue that this is about health.
Yeah.
But having a weak jawline is not really like a recognized health problem. But you do have crowded teeth if your jaw's smaller.
At the hearing, it would be great if Mike Mew had a raft of character witnesses, and then there were all these square-jawed cartoon characters. They look like Dick Tracy, and they all walked in one by one. They're like, proof's in the chin pudding, my friends. But this was not the case.
That was not the case. No. And I do feel bad for them a little bit because they went all in on this whole thing, and they like put all their money in having an expensive lawyer and all this stuff. And there's a documentary, and when you see them and you see their cute little family, you do feel for them, but they are hurting people and their teeth.
Yeah. So what would be a good name for that documentary? Keep Your Chin Up, the story of John Mew.
Well, they had a name too, but these dental devices.
Jaw in Order? I don't know. I can think of a lot of them.
That's good too, because of your orderly teeth.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Very good. Very good. So he didn't make money. He's not, or he's an unsuccessful charlatan, or tell me.
Well, they were charging people. One person, they charged £12,500 for 36 months of treatment. So it's not cheap.
Yeah.
And
though it is ineffective.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. They also referred this one kid to surgery for tongue tie that he didn't need. And his teeth were pretty messed up after all this. Oof. And he had an ulcer. Anyway, the 2023 kid was 18, not 17. Mm-hmm. And he practiced mewing 7 hours a day.
Yeah. And he's the one who had the impacted salivary gland?
Yeah. He got a salivary gland cyst, which had to be removed.
So we have pictures of John Mew, why the long face. We have pictures of Michael Mew, square-jawed. This is but one anecdote. If these people, or if people who are his acolytes, if these jaw maxers have been mewing and mewing and mewing, they should be able to, and you could do this with, tricks of light or editing, show before and after photos. Are those out there?
People, yeah, absolutely. There's like a whole Reddit channel devoted to very impressive looking before and after photos. And I looked at them. And a lot of them, some of them were pretty impressive, but a lot of them were clearly just like a better angle or just like
jutting out their faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. So if you were to do it, you'd have to have the face held in the same posture and a measure. And have they ever tried that? Not someone named Mew trying that, but someone independent trying that.
Not that I could find.
Yeah.
And that's probably because, again, like even theoretically, it shouldn't work for adults. And for young children, it seems like inhumane.
Yeah. And so the downside is it's a huge waste of time and people are lying to you about science. But there's also this social, or I would say, socio, maybe political downside is in that the people who are into this are being lied to and being tricked. But there's a kind of culture of inceldom or or let's just call it misogyny, right, involved in this.
Yeah.
And also a message to boys, it's mostly to boys, that unless you have this perfectly square jaw, you're not good looking and no one will ever like you.
Right. Like instead they should have people, the Muse suggesting that kids with soft jawlines just work on their joke telling or their guitar playing.
Yeah.
I think juggling is the one talent that doesn't actually
attract. Negative correlated. Yeah. just wealth acquisition. Yeah. This is tried and true. Joke telling is a good one. Yeah. Or are there, I guess I'm trying to think of the soft jawed or the weak jawed sex symbols, and there are none.
Michael Cera.
He's weak-jawed or just like slim-shouldered?
No, I think he's got pretty weak jaw. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
I asked ChatGPT and my friends for suggestions, and he came up a few times, and I looked at pictures. I'm thinking, I think that's solid.
Is he a sex symbol?
Maybe not.
Okay. Yeah. He gets cast as exactly not that in every movie.
Yeah.
All right. So, the jaw maxing Reddit page also has like a link to the Michael Cera Reddit page, like Michael Cera fan page. And that's the off ramp. Like the people go in and they try to convince the jaw maxers, Michael Cera
has
a nice life.
Yeah.
And who else? No one else, but some funny people who aren't jugglers.
Now, you know what's interesting, though? There's some... I'm trying to think of like a good pun. There's a little kernel of truth in what the Mews are telling people, though.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Our jaws have gotten much weaker in the last 200 years and gradually weaker since we started farming. And the reason is because, well, for the 200-year change, I mean, that is too small to be genetic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it seems to be that
it's like 4 or 5 generations, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's because we do not breastfeed as long as we used to, and it's also pureed food and really softer like processed food. So we're not getting the exercise that we need in our jaws and our mouths. And when children are suckling, they actually are pushing their upward palate outward.
Okay.
And your lower jaw tracks the growth of your upper jaw when you're a little young.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I question the breastfeeding explanation for a couple reasons.
Yeah.
One, it was much less popular in the 70s and much more popular, really kind of pushed upon you by the medical community now.
Yeah.
So we should see over time, or the kids who are, somewhat between 5 and 25 should have remarkably stronger jaws than the people between 25 and 55. But I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if it's
true. I
true.
haven't seen a bunch of square jaws walking around. I haven't seen a bunch of people where you can say, oh, look at that weak jaw. He must be older millennial. I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, but, we won't really know till they're dead and someone's collected their skulls, I guess.
Well, you could look. The whole point is how you look outwardly.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And the other thing is there's only breastfeeding in the developing world. I mean, mostly breastfeeding in the developing world are people in sub-Saharan Africa strong-jawed.
People have not looked at that, but that would be a great question to look at for sure.
It's a little dicey. I don't know. I'm going to assign it to the Reddit page. If not the jawmaxing Reddit page, then the Michael Cera Reddit page. So this does seem like one of those things that if it worked, it would be pretty easy to have discernible evidence that it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not there.
Well, you know what? When you're doing... when John Mew did his twin studies, some of them look quite different from each other. But when you interview the twins, they're like, that was horrifying. Like, that was very stressful. Like, I'm not glad I did it, usually. Yeah. Or at least that's what I saw in this one documentary.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Mungala. Tried a Mangala thing with a Mew. Thank you, Dr. Mengmula. I don't know how that works.
And if you don't like your jawline, you just get the surgery that John Mulaney got.
Oh, he got a jaw surgery?
I mean, I think so. I think everyone thinks so.
Oh, you're one of these?
I mean, okay, you look at pictures, pull up some pictures. Like, he definitely got jaw surgery. He looks like a different person.
Interesting. Do you think that was, I don't know, in a cocaine-fueled bender, he hit the curb with his jaw, or just trying to jaw max?
If you live in LA, I guess, like, after a while, you just, like, start to feel like you have to do
you're assigned plastic surgeons. Oh, so there is surgery if you don't want to just suck.
Absolutely. And it's so much more effective in that it is effective. And it costs about the same.
By more effective, you mean actually effective.
Right.
And it costs this, how much does it cost?
In terms of, tongue
yoga.
No, the tongue yoga is free, of course. But if you were to try to become a patient of the Mews, I think that you would get a better return.
Oh. So does jaw surgery have a special name? To gussy it up?
You know what? I do not know that. Okay. But I'm sure there's names for it. But also I believe that the celebrities get access to, like, facial things that the rest of us don't even know the names of yet. We won't know for a while.
I think the Scientologists hold sway over that, and they'll let you in. If you reach, like, 8th level Thesian, they'll, like, here's our special jaw surgery.
Because all the older actresses are looking so snatched right now.
Mm-hmm. Snatched. See, I don't know. This is young people phrase. I know jaw maxing. I don't know snatched. Any other data, any other hard science that you need to tell us about the jaw maxing for us to be able to answer our question? You know what? No one's done these studies, but it's mostly because these guys are definitely quacks. Yeah, okay, there you go. So this is going to be an easy one and a definitive one. Mewing, tongue yoga, jaw maxing. You could do exercises to improve the shape and contours of your jaw. Is that bullshit? Definitely bullshit. That is bullshit. Sadie Dingfelder, I know you were, everyone was in suspense. Hey, what you gonna rule after all of that discussion? Turns out it's bullshit. Very good, but you're providing a public service, and I thank you. I enjoyed joining with you in this in this segment. Sadie Dingfelder is the author of Do I Know You? A Face-Blind Reporter's... See, I have to... That's the front of the book.
Journey.
Wait, hold on. I'll read it. Do I Know You? A Face-Blind Reporter's Journey into the Science of Sight, Memory, and Imagination. And also, she plays Is That Bullshit with us. Thank you, Sadie.
Thank you.